The Northrop B-2 Spirit stands as one of the most remarkable aircraft in modern military history. Developed at the tail end of the Cold War, it seamlessly blends cutting-edge stealth design, long-range strike capability, and nuclear deterrence. Despite entering service in the 1990s, the B-2 still commands respect for its near invisibility on radar and its enduring strategic value, U.S. Air Force. With a cost that's raised eyebrows worldwide, this formidable bomber has proven its worth in multiple conflicts, showcasing both its power and its sophistication. Let's explore how the B-2 came to be, how it works, and why it remains so influential. To appreciate the B-2 Spirit, we need to revisit the high-stakes environment of the 1970s and 80s. The Cold War between the U.S. and the Soviet Union produced an arms race that pushed aerospace engineers to new frontiers. Nuclear deterrence demanded platforms that could reliably penetrate advanced air defenses and deliver warheads if escalated. Traditional bombers like B-52 and B-1 were fast and capable, but increasingly vulnerable to sophisticated radar and missile systems. It was under this pressure that stealth technology emerged. The U.S. Department of Defense funded programs that were aimed to reduce an aircraft's radar cross-section, thus making it far harder to detect. Lockheed's success with the F-117 Nighthawk was proof that low observable aircraft was a viable thing to create. However, designing that stealth bomber bigger, heavier, and meant for intercontinental range, that posed a host of new challenges. Northrop's proposal built on its legacy of flying wing concepts. Earlier attempts like the YB-49 in the late 40s hinted at aerodynamic efficiency, but was hampered by stability and technological limitations. By the late 70s, digital flight control systems and emerging radar-absorbent materials opened the door for a radical approach. In 1981, Northrop's design won out over Lockheed's competitor, and the race to develop the world's first truly stealthy strategic bomber began in earnest. Shifting requirements added delays and expenses. The plane's mission profile evolved from high-altitude operations to low-level penetration, necessitating structural and avionics changes. Even so, the guiding principle was still clear: develop a bomber that radar systems could barely detect, one that could strike deep into Soviet territory if necessary. Though the Soviet Union did dissolve before the B-2 reached full operational status, the Spirit would soon prove its worth in new conflicts, far removed from the Cold War's original standoff scenario. Now, developing the B-2 was an audacious and expensive undertaking. Original estimates soared when the Air Force decided to shift the bomber's mission from high to low altitude penetration, adding roughly $1 billion, about $2.4 billion today, to the project. By the time the R&D wrapped, the total cost was about $23 billion, equivalent to about $48.2 billion in contemporary money. That's in 2025. Now, that estimate covered not only the aircraft's design, but also experimentation with advanced materials, exotic stealth coatings, specialized testing facilities, and creation of secure manufacturing environments to protect sensitive technologies. Once production began, the per-unit cost was equally eye-popping, about $929 million in the early 1990s, or about $1.5 billion per today. Factoring in maintenance, specialized hangars, and long-term upgrades, it's only going to push the bill higher. Now, such a massive expense ignited controversy in Congress and the public sphere. Detractors argue that a fleet of smaller, cheaper aircraft, especially new fighters or unmanned systems, could collectively achieve the same effects at a fraction of the cost. Advocates countered that a stealth bomber capable of slipping past top-tier air defenses was invaluable. It allowed a limited number of aircraft to accomplish missions that would otherwise require vast support packages and risk more casualties. The end of the Cold War played a role in shrinking the B-2's planned production run. Initially, the Air Force wanted over 130 of these bombers, but after the Soviets' collapse, the number dropped to a mere 21, including one prototype. This drastic cut, ironically, drove up the cost per unit even further, since many of the R&D expenses were spread across fewer aircraft. Ultimately, the B-2 sky-high price tag underscores the uniqueness. It's not just another plane, it's a product of extreme technological ambition, developed in an era when the U.S. was determined to maintain unquestioned air supremacy. So whether you view the B-2 as an overblown billion-dollar baby or as a critical strategic asset, there's no denying its role in redefining the upper limits of defense spending. Stealth is the B-2's defining feature, evident in its sleek flying wing silhouette. By eliminating tails and vertical stabilizers, engineers drastically reduce the surfaces that bounce radar waves back to any receivers. The aircraft's curved edges further scatter incoming signals, preventing a strong return. A key component of its stealth profile is the use of radar-absorbent materials, or RAM. The B-2 skin is composed largely of carbon graphite composites, known for both strength and low radar reflectivity. Now, these composites, paired with specialized coatings, absorb or deflect radar energy, making the bomber nearly invisible in certain frequency bands. Even the engine intakes and exhaust nozzles are carefully designed to reduce infrared and acoustic signatures. The engines sit deep within the body, and the exhaust ports cool hot gases before they reach the open air, mitigating infrared detection. Fly-by-wire controls handle stability concerns. A flying wing can be aerodynamically unstable, but advanced computers make make minute control adjustments to keep the aircraft safely maneuverable. The digital assistance frees pilots to focus on mission objectives rather than constantly wrestling with the bomber's inherent flight quirks. Another stealth factor is operating altitude and timing. Typically, the B-2 flies at night or in low light conditions. Using a dark matte gray paint to blend in with the sky, its small radar cross-section, often sighted around 0.1 square meters, means that even advanced radar networks may struggle to track it at a distance. For an adversary, any detection is fleeting, providing minimal time to launch an intercept. Internally, the bomber houses sophisticated avionics and secure communication systems, designed to minimize emissions that could give away its position. Everything from targeting sensors to navigation aids is integrated into the stealth philosophy. The result is an aircraft that not only looks futuristic, but can slip past defenses once believed impenetrable. Now hey, the B-2 shape isn't just for show, it's a masterclass in applied stealth engineering. Despite its stealth focus, the B-2 can carry an impressive 18,000 kilograms of ordnance. This heavy loadout ranges from nuclear bombs like the variable yield B-61 and B-83 to a wide array of conventional munitions. The aircraft also has integrated precision-guided bombs, such as the JDAM and GBU-38, which rely on GPS or laser guidance. For broader area effects, the B-2 can drop cluster munitions like the CBU-97, although these do remain controversial due to the potential for unexploded bomblets. Nuclear capability places the B-2 squarely within America's nuclear triad, ensuring that potential adversaries face the risk of a stealth bomber slipping through their defenses. Yet, it's the bomber's conventional role that's been showcased in real-world operations. In Kosovo, Afghanistan, Iraq, and Libya, the B-2 has repeatedly struck critical targets, often flying from Missouri's Whiteman Air Force Base and returning in missions that can last over 40 hours with aerial refueling. These extended sorties highlight the aircraft's global reach. With air-to-air refueling, it can launch from U.S. soil, bypass forward bases, and strike targets really anywhere on Earth. This intercontinental capability proves crucial if Allies' runways are unavailable or compromised. Striking from stealth confers immense advantages. Enemy radar operators might only register a fleeting blip, and by then, the bombs could already be falling. This reduces the need for large escort packages of fighters and electronic warfare aircraft. Now, while the B-2 lacks defensive weapons, its invisibility is itself a potent defense mechanism. In many respects, the B-2's combat role is a balancing act. It has to deter high-end threats with nuclear strike options, but while also offering precision in low-intensity conflicts. That dual capability underlines why it remains a linchpin of U.S. power projection. Whether neutralizing enemy air defenses or delivering a powerful strategic message, the Spirit shows that stealth and firepower can coexist in one lethal package. The B-2 Spirit has proven its mettle in multiple conflicts, showcasing that stealth is more than just a buzzword. One of its earliest high-profile deployments came during the Kosovo War in '99, where it struck Serbian targets from Whiteman AFB in the United States. Clocking round-trip flights exceeding 30 hours, the bomb targeted infrastructure and military assets, showing the value of stealth in bypassing air defenses built on Soviet-era systems. Post 9/11, the B-2 participated in Operation Enduring Freedom, flying marathon 40-plus hour missions to Afghanistan. From halfway around the globe, it delivered precise strikes against Taliban and Al-Qaeda strongholds, sometimes landing at Diego Garcia or back at Whiteman after in-flight refueling. Its success in that rugged mountainous theater underscored its adaptability to varied combat environments. Further operations in Iraq and Libya highlighted the bomber's continued utility. In 2011, the B-2 hit Libyan air defenses, paving the way for NATO jets to operate with fewer risks. In later years, it targeted ISIS positions, demonstrating how a bomber designed for Cold War deterrence could remain relevant in asymmetric warfare against terrorist networks. In each deployment, the bomber's stealth gave it a distinct advantage. Without advance notice of incoming strikes, enemy forces had little time to prepare or move vital assets. The psychological impact was also significant. Knowing a B-2 could appear at any time, virtually undetected, it'll really hamper your adversary's ability to operate freely. From a strategic standpoint, these missions cemented the B-2's reputation as a global strike asset, projected American air power across continents without requiring large-scale forward deployments. This ability to bypass typical logistical hurdles, enemy radar coverage, foreign basing, or political constraints remains a game-changer. Indeed, the B-2's track record proves that its stealth profile isn't just a theoretical advantage. In actual combat, it has consistently delivered precision, shock, and confusion to adversaries all around the world. Now, keeping a B-2 Spirit combat ready demands specialized equipment, skilled technicians, and significant funding. Like, a lot of funding. Stealth materials aren't just expensive to develop, but they're also delicate. Each post-flight inspection involves scanning the bomber's radar-absorbent coating for nicks or scratches. Repairs have to follow strict guidelines to preserve the aircraft's low observability. Even a small imperfection can increase the radar cross-section, compromising the bomber's main advantage. The B-2 typically resides in climate-controlled controlled clamshell hangars, built to maintain stable temperatures and humidity. This controlled environment slows the degradation of stealth materials, which can be sensitive to moisture and extreme swings. Buildings such as hangars at overseas bases or deploying the needed infrastructure quickly if the bomber is stationed abroad adds complexity and cost. On the software side, flight control systems require frequent updates and checks. Fly-by-wire systems handle the nuances of a flying wing's aerodynamics, so any glitch could jeopardize flight stability. Avionics suites are periodically upgraded to integrate new navigation and targeting capabilities. While these updates keep the aircraft relevant, they also require specialized maintenance crews that are trained to handle highly classified technology. With only 20 operational B-2s remaining, after one was sadly lost in a 2008 crash, resource management becomes a balancing act. If multiple aircraft are grounded for upgrades or repairs, the fleet's availability drops sharply. Each plane essentially becomes a multi-billion-dollar asset that's got to be handled with the utmost care. This scarcity also means that any lengthy maintenance procedure can affect global readiness. Furthermore, advanced adversaries are improving their radar and air defense networks, prompting the Air Force to continually refine the B-2 stealth features. Whether it's updated coatings or electronic countermeasures, each tweak aims to stay ahead of detection technologies. These upgrades keep the Spirit relevant but perpetuate the cycle of high maintenance and operational costs. All told, the B-2's logistical demands highlight a simple truth. Stealth never comes cheap or easy. Yet for many in the defense community, the unique capabilities that this bomber provides justify its rigorous care and upkeep. Now, despite its status as a technological marvel, the B-2 Spirit's days are numbered. Initially slated to serve until 2058, it now appears that the fleet will retire by the early 2030s. Driving this shift is the advent of the B-21 Raider, a next-generation stealth bomber also developed by Northrop. It's announced as a more affordable, easier-to-maintain alternative. The B-21 is expected to build on lessons that were learned from the B-2. Rapid advancements in air defense technology push the need for a newer design. Nations like Russia and China are fielding radars that operate on different frequencies, overlapping each other to detect stealth aircraft much more effectively. While the B-2 can be upgraded, a clean sheet approach allows engineers to integrate the latest material, computing power, and sensor function from the ground up. The Air Force envisions a sizable fleet of B-21s, potentially over 100 aircraft, giving the U.S. a more robust, modern long-range strike capability than the small B-2 fleet can provide. The Raider's design remains classified, but it's rumored to maintain a flying wing layout similar to its predecessor. Emphasis on modular systems could make it simpler to retrofit technologies over its lifespan, addressing a key challenge that the B-2 faces today. Phasing out the Spirit won't be instantaneous. The B-2 will continue fulfilling critical missions until the B-21s are operational. However, as budgets shift, modernizing older bombers becomes less appealing compared to investing in cutting-edge platforms. Even so, the B-2's legacy endures. It validated stealth at the strategic bomber level, proved the feasibility of ultra-long-range precision strikes, and influenced how militaries think about penetrating next-generation defenses. When the final B-2 rolls into retirement, it'll mark the end of an era, one that began under Cold War pressures and extended through 21st century operations. But its DNA lives on in the Raider, which aims to blend the Spirit's pioneering stealth with modern software and sensor technology for the challenges of tomorrow. Now, few modern bombers capture public imagination quite like the B-2. With its bat-like silhouette and near-mythical stealth capabilities, it's shown up in Hollywood films, video games, documentaries, and it's all often depicted as an unbeatable war machine. The truth's a bit more nuanced, but the bomber's real-world exploits lend weight to its cinematic portrayal. Air shows that include a B-2 flyover will draw a massive crowd, seeing the futuristic flying wing pass overhead, sometimes nearly silent until it's right above you. It can be breathtaking. While aircraft's visits are limited due to secrecy, these rare appearances reinforce its mystique. On the engineering side, the B-2 has inspired continued research into flying wing concepts, even among commercial plane manufacturers exploring more efficient airframes. Such research faces hurdles, especially regarding passenger comfort and emergency procedures, but the Spirit's aerodynamic efficiency remains an influential case study. Beyond technical realms, the B-2's iconic status has also entered the realm of pop culture collectibles. Scale model kits, die-cast replicas, and posters appeal to aviation enthusiasts and casual fans alike. Museums dedicated to aviation history often highlight the bomber's developed secretive processes that lead to its creation. The B-2's ghostly shape has even spawned urban legends and UFO conspiracy theories. At night, witnesses sometimes mistake it for something extraterrestrial, contributing to its aura as a plane that's out of this world. While that's obviously an exaggeration, the aircraft's unconventional design and hush-hush technology feed the public's fascination. In a broader sense, the B-2 represents American American technological prowess and the lengths that the nation went to maintain a strategic edge. Its pop culture presence, whether in big-budget action films or at national ceremonies, reflects a collective recognition of how extraordinary it is. That being said, it's safe to say that when people see a B-2, they know they're witnessing a piece of living history, as well as a glimpse into the future of stealth aviation. Given its price tag and powerful role, the B-2 Spirit has faced its share of debate. Chief among the controversies is cost effectiveness. With each aircraft costing about $1.5 billion in today's dollars, critics question whether the U.S. could achieve similar deterrence and strike capabilities with a cheaper system, like drones, cruise missiles, or just upgraded legacy bombers. Another contentious point is its shrinking advantage in the face of evolving radar technology. Some experts argue that new multi-band radar networks, coupled with infrared sensors, may erode the B-2's stealth edge. While the Air Force continually upgrades the bomber, opponents worry that pouring more money into an older platform is a bit inefficient. Additionally, the bomber's strong association with nuclear warfare raises ethical and strategic concerns. Some see it as perpetuating the nuclear arms race and argue that a highly stealthy nuclear delivery system might lower the threshold for usage. Others counter that deterrence relies on the certainty that the U.S. can strike back, stealth or not. The tiny fleet, again 20 operational airframes, also sparks debate. If only a handful of B-2s are mission-ready at any given time, is the fleet large enough to deter or respond to multiple threats simultaneously? Still, proponents maintain that even a small stealth force offers a formidable psychological and strategic tool. Just knowing a B-2 could arrive undetected is often enough to make an adversary think twice. Critics also point to how secrecy has shrouded aspects of the program, limiting transparency and oversight. While some information has to remain classified to protect stealth technologies, the broader defense community grapples with balancing security needs against the public's right to understand how their funds are spent. In the end, the Spirit's controversies mirror broader debates about defense priorities. Is stealth-based nuclear deterrence a cornerstone of security or an overly expensive relic of Cold War thinking? Whatever the viewpoint, the B-2 remains a lightning rod for discussions about the cost, morality, and efficacy of America's high-tech warfighting capabilities. Even as the B-2 Spirit inches toward retirement, its influence on aviation and military doctrine is indelible. It proved that large-scale stealth was not just a pipe dream, ushering in an era when low observability became a cornerstone of modern aviation power. Its flying wing layout, refined stealth materials, and integrated avionics all showed that a bomber could excel in both nuclear and conventional roles without sacrificing operational flexibility. From the Cold War's tail end to post-9/11 conflicts, the B-2 adapted and stayed relevant. Long-duration sorties, sometimes lasting over 40 hours, demonstrated its global reach, and real-world combat verified that stealth was effective in practice, not just on paper. Along the way, it fueled countless research initiatives, technical breakthroughs, and debates about how best to allocate defense resources. The B-2's legacy will likely manifest in the upcoming 21 Raider. Engineers have learned from the Spirit's complexities and costs, potentially crafting a more maintainable aircraft that's easier on budgets, yet still cutting edge in stealth. Still, there's no doubt that the B-2 was a generational leap that influenced every stealth aircraft that followed, fighter or bomber. But beyond the military sphere, the Spirit's iconic status has made it a cultural touchstone. Its appearances in media, the fascination it stirs at air shows, and the sheer audacity of its engineering all capture the public's imagination. Few aircraft can combine mystery, power, and innovation as seamlessly as the B-2. Truth be told, the Spirit's story is one of ambition, a bomber conceived in the shadow of nuclear apocalypse that found new relevance in the evolving challenges of the 20th century. As it transitions out of frontline service, it'll leave behind a legacy of pioneering stealth, awe-inspiring presence, and a blueprint for how to meld technology with strategic foresight. The Northrop B-2 Spirit is more than just a pricey plane. It's a milestone in aviation history that bridged eras and shaped the future of stealth design. As we prepare to welcome the B-21 Raider, the Spirit's legacy remains secure, a stealth masterpiece that proved its mettle across the globe. We hope you enjoyed this deep dive into the aircraft's history, the engineering, and enduring impact. And if you found the video helpful or just plain fun, don't forget to subscribe for more in-depth looks at legendary aircraft and cutting-edge defense technology. Thanks for joining us on this flight through the world of the B-2 Spirit. Safe skies, everyone. We'll see you next time.